those who are in the fray feel that they have been deprived of the chances of winning. Intensive revision is what is allowed in law. Where do you get this word special coming from? Special intensive revision is not there in any law. Muhammad can be spelled in 3 ways. Chakravarti can be definitely spelled in 27 ways. Greatest name puzzle is Rabindranath Tagore. So in Bangla, we always call him Rabindranath Thakur. Another person did that before him, called Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He said, shift the whole capital of Delhi to Devnagari or Devnagar. And people died on the way. He said, "Theek hai." The way they have put in the statement shows that it's clearly politically, clearly aimed at West Bengal, because we have 27% Muslim voters who will presumably never vote for the central regime. So we have to do something. And that something has been to slash this 27% Muslim voters by us. It's not a Mamata Banerjee intellectual property. It's the general feeling, and she has articulated it for her political end. Mamata Banerjee has a very personalized, very highly sensitive, personal insult attitude to administration. She should not have taken umbrage to every word and every utterance of the Election Commission. She did confrontation of a public nature on a public standing for a political purpose. Yeah, mathematics says that the margins are so low that the BJP may sweep, but it may not work that way. You need a punching bag, and the punching bag is an illegal Mussalman.
Hello and welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. The aim of the exercise is neither correction nor inclusion, but deletion and exclusion. Quote unquote, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee pitched this against the BJP's charge of Banerjee protecting illegal Bangladeshis and infiltrators. In the eye of the storm is the controversial special revision exercise, a process meant to ensure fair elections, at least ostensibly. Electoral genocide, a scam, a bid to turn infiltrators into vote banks, and so on and so forth. The words and adjectives being liberally used for the revision exercise, or the SIR, as it is popularly known. The battle has begun, but the war is on. The state government in West Bengal versus the BJP at the centre. The key question, is the SIR being misused as a political tool? Is there substance in Banerjee's allegations? Is the Election Commission being fair, or is it, as the opposition alleges, acting at the behest of the government? With the elections in West Bengal on the anvil, these are top-of-the-mind questions. Who better to answer them than Jawhar Sircar, a bureaucrat turned politician who Banerjee later sent to the Rajya Sabha. Midway his term, he resigned over the rape and murder of a trainee doctor in R.G. Kar State Hospital, even as he urged Banerjee to quote-unquote do something. Today, the loyalist turned critic speaks to us on the controversial SIR, the forthcoming state elections, and to quote him yet again, the changed Mamata Banerjee from the one he knew. Jawhar Sircar here with us in this edition of HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. Welcome to the show, Jawhar Sircar, and thank you for being here with us.
Good to see you.
Let me begin with what is top of the mind, the SIR. You know, it has been dubbed as an electoral genocide. Don't you think it is a very strong word to use for the intensive revision?
As we talk today, some 35 lakh people in Bengal are being deprived from their right to vote. It's a huge number, and it has never happened before. This special thing seems to have made it something extraordinary, where people are actually deprived of the right to vote rather than the first chief election commissioner formula. That is the duty of the election commission to encourage voters to come and register themselves. We are now facing a situation where all the 25, 24 chief election commissioners work, their style of functioning, their orders, everything has been junked. And the present chief election commissioner has made his own set of rules.
But electoral genocide?
You see, how else do we explain 35 lakh people not being allowed to vote? Now, if you looked at that very closely, you'll find that most of them are in the border districts where the margins are very disturbing. If a person has won an election in a particular constituency in Bengal by 20,000 votes, this time 40,000 people have been deprived of their right to vote under this and that clause. So 40,000 people stand deleted. And the winning margin last time was 20,000. So you get the angst. Those who are in the fray feel that they have been deprived of the chances of winning. It's an electoral deletion on a mass scale. You can use any word for it. Since 1950, no state has had a situation where a sizable chunk of its electorate was told, no, after voting right out, we will decide after the election. For the present, you are not allowed to vote. So that's the annoying people, voters in Bengal. And when I say Bengal, I don't mean Bengalis only. We have a largest community of people from other states also.
So, is that what the Supreme Court spoke about in its recent observation about 15% deletion?
Yes, the Supreme Court has woken up to or has taken up this issue in the very recent past, whereas people who have been in the game of elections, I was chief electoral officer for 2 parliament elections, observer after that. So we knew that when the chief election commissioner started the roll revision under the guise special intensive roll revision in the end of November, early December, we knew he would not be able to go through all the names. It's a 9-month process. You can't squeeze a semester from 6 months to 2 months and say it's a semester. The chief election commissioner failed to understand or deliberately delayed it. There was no connection with Bihar. Bengal is different. If Bengal was heading for elections, it's a troublesome state, it's a very highly politically conscious state, you could have started sometime in June, July. What stopped you from getting it in July?
Will you explain the term deliberate, which was actually my next question, that do you think he failed or was it deliberate? Would you just explain that?
I'll explain. When you are going through a complicated process of intensive revision, where computer Babaji is the game master, we never had it before. This time, the game starts with a matching of 2002 and 2007 and a form invented from the mind of the present election commission. It's not a statutory form. What actually operates for the last 70 years is the registration of electors' rules. The entire registration of electors' rules has been mangled, part of it taken, part of it thrown off. So there is a chance of people giving allegations of malafide. You have not gone according to the book. The registration of electors' rules says there are only 2 types of revision: intensive or partial. That's all. So intensive revision is what is allowed in law. Where do you get this word special coming from?
I'm asking you, where does this and why does this word special come from?
There is no 3 words called special intensive revision in the Representation of the People Act or in the rules. There is one small provision called special revision. Now, this special revision means, supposing there is a flood in the Doaba region and you need to sort of rebuild the road. That's a time when you go in for what is called surgical intervention, and that is called special revision. Now, so we have an intensive revision on one side, and you have a term called special revision on the other side, an ad hoc arrangement. Somebody has combined the two and made it special intensive revision, which is the word, three words, special intensive revision is not there in any law.
Are you saying that this is something the court has overlooked?
It appears that the court would look into this matter later on, after it's all over. The legality, the constitutionality of using these terms and all that, they look more at the intention of the Election Commission. I have a strong feeling that the Election Commission has misled the court by not giving them the full picture. If one question was asked, show me the provision where special intensive revision is. The end result is 35 lakh people are not allowed to vote. And that 35 lakh is also a small number. These are the numbers who have filed their appeals before the High Court Tribunal. There are many people who have not even understood what's going on. They'll go to the polling stations and they'll find their names not there. So 35 lakh is the representative number. The real number could actually be 50 lakh. People who have not filed their applications, This is a very serious matter because the winning margins have been threatened.
You have said three things. One, that SIR is questionable. Two, that it is not possible. And three, that it is concocted. Let us take these one by one.
I'm not a man of law, I'm the man of elections who has conducted elections. Where this term comes from, number one. Number two, how many provisions of the registration of electors rule that has worked like magic for 24 chief election commissioners before this gentleman? How many provisions of the registration of electors rule are being applied? He has devised a term called logical discrepancy and fed it into the computer saying that for a variation, a little variation, if it happens, it's a logical discrepancy. Now, let me explain to you culturally. In Bengal, names, or many other places of India, certain names can be spelt in different ways. Muhammad can be spelt in 3 ways. Chakravarti can be definitely spelled in 27 ways. Most people who use Banerjee, Mukherjee, Chatterjee, you've heard these names. Actually, when it comes to Bangla, it's called Bandopadhyay, Chattopadhyay, Mukhopadhyay. We call Mamata Banerjee in English, but the moment we use Bangla, we say Mamata Bandopadhyay. Now, these appeared, once the names have appeared in the electoral roll, if the father's name is Bandopadhyay and the son's name is Banerjee, they said it's an electoral. Greatest name puzzle is Rabindranath Tagore. In English, he wrote, according to his family's English tradition, Tagore. Somebody had given the word 300 years ago, so they stuck to Tagore, Charmila Tagore. But in Bangla, we always call him Rabindranath Thakur. Thakur. Now, if you feed that into the computer says logical discrepancy. In such a manner, this logical discrepancy, without adequate cultural inputs being fed into the computer or without properly understanding, has affected a lot of people in Bengal. Harassment of people has never happened before. And this has come because of the inadequacy of the understanding of the ground realities by the Election Commission. It's been done in such a way, an impractical way, partly impractical, partly ingenious, and partly exclusive.
So, do you see a method in this madness?
I see. Not only I, there are about 7 crore or thereabout voters, and they are all such. Now they are saying that this must have been done as part of a scheme. It's part of a plan or a part of a thinking that if I do this process in my manner and if people happen to drop on the wayside, let them. I can't help it. Another person did that before him called Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He said, shift the whole capital of Delhi to Durgagiri or Devnagar. And people died on the way. He said, it's a Tughlaqi way, if I may put it. He dried the ocean to count the fish. Never mind how many fishes died on the bank. I think this gentleman also understood the consequences and he said, so be it. A fact of it is a BJP leader has rejoiced saying that nobody can stop us now that all the false names have been deleted. I mean, he's used the term false names or whatever.
While on logical discrepancy, even the court has questioned the Election Commission for adopting a different mechanism in West Bengal.
Yes, the court has done it, but one would have expected the court to say, stop it. Stop it. Now that you know that it's a newfangled spin ball, stop it. Just stop it and go by the process that has worked wonder for the last 75 years. Why are you going astray? Why are you coming up with concocted forms, concocted computer programs? The court has been reasonably clear that some amount of mischief is going on.
Other states apart, do you think that the SIR is mainly targeting West Bengal and hence being used as a political tool?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it, even among the BJP people. The way they have put in the statement shows that it's clearly politically, clearly aimed at West Bengal, a very difficult state, because we have 27% Muslim voters who will presumably never vote for the central regime. So we have to do something. And that something has been to slash this 27% Muslim voters by us. You have voters in many pockets, urban pockets, and others who do not believe in the philosophy of a particular party. Slash their name. So, slash their name, how else can you do it? Without this newfangled SIR with logical discrepancy, with so many terms coming in, it's a well planned thing.
Having said that, how do you think this political tool would affect the electoral outcome in West Bengal, and to what extent has it altered the electoral map?
The electoral map has been radically changed. If you go by constituency, you'll find that along more than half of Bengal, the winning margins have been cut down by deletion. I've been mentioning one particular constituency, Shamsherganj in Murshidabad district, where 92% of the adjudicated cases, the Muslim majority one, 92% names were deleted in the exercise of adjudication. And the exercise of adjudication was caused by this computer generated program called logical discrepancy. It's so glaring. More than half the landscape of Bengal has been cut to size so that people say that somebody wins. Okay, that's one. Number two, in this exercise, at least 1 to 2 crores, we are not sure, of people have gone through harassment that they have never gone through in the past. They had to fish out this evidence, that evidence, and many of them were committed anti TMC voters. Now, these people, they turn to TMC and vote in rage. So it's a sword that cuts both ways. Third, Mamata Banerjee was under siege by protests. And this sea of protests and her anti-incumbency move was wiped off because of the clumsiness of SIR. SIR gave her a sort of subnational appeal. Then they are after our people, after my state, after the Bengali people.
So, against the backdrop of what you are saying, then Mamata Banerjee is right in alleging that this is done to delete Muslim voters and TMC voters. And again, as you said, this is a sword that will cut both ways. It will, in a sense, be advantage TMC, while the BJP wanted to do the opposite.
Yes, yes, and but only one proviso. It was Mamata Banerjee alone who has said, observed, and made these statements. Many political parties have done it, but she has stolen the limelight. Many political parties have openly said exactly the same words that you have used, but they have not been able to project themselves. So it's not a Mamata Banerjee intellectual property. It's the general feeling, and she has articulated it for her political end.
If you had not resigned from the TMC, you would have probably said, yes, 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 what you're
I
saying
didn't
is right.
no. Even when I was in TMC, I was a dissenter from on many issues, right from the seventh month, and from because there are issues where your conscience just doesn't allow you to agree.
Anyway, your other point about Mamata Banerjee having goofed up, and here I'm quoting you, and also being clever by half. Let us go through her mistakes and how she has contributed to the SIR controversy and chaos. And the state government, for instance, has obstructed the exercise rather than cooperated. So it should share the blame for the delay and the mess up.
Yes, I fully agree with you. Mamata Banerjee has a very personalized, very highly sensitive, personal insult attitude to administration, which is very dangerous. She considers any letter sent by an undersecretary of the Election Commission to be an affront to her dignity. I know that style. And the bureaucrats surrounding her, who have tried to make it more reasonable, has not succeeded. Especially if you pick up chief secretaries whose competence remains, well, whatever. So they have also not been able to professionalize her approach. What she did was, right from November, we knew it was coming, okay? If she gave the first lot of names in bucket loads, the election commission couldn't complain. Instead, she gave names of different types. She first tried not to give names, then she said this and that. They had to give names, but 2 months were wasted in this tomcat type of fight. This 2 months goes to the advantage of the master planner of the whole exercise. 2 months haven't got a name. The Supreme Court gets highly annoyed. They says, why is Bengal fighting so much with the ECI, etc. So they say, so we have sent names. The ECI says you have sent names below the level that we want, etc. So these sort of technical fights for the first 2 months, December and January, spoiled the whole thing. By February, when the full names were there, the ECI had already gone to court saying that I am unable to proceed. And the court said, okay, we'll put judicial officers. Now that is a very extraordinary step.
So, what you're saying, and as I understand it, both the Election Commission and the Mamata Banerjee led state government, though they are daggers drawn and baying for each other's blood, were in one sense partners in crime.
Yes, if you put it that way. With a sad travesty, both of them went in for this thing, almost compelling the Supreme Court to come out with an extraordinary order saying judicial officers will do it. And since there are no so many judicial officers, you have to draft them. So it's an exercise not what shall I say, not smooth. It's a bumpy exercise of getting them. And by the time the poor judges had an office and papers lying before them, they were looking at the watch because it's already too late.
What is it that Mamata Banerjee should have done so that things did not come to such a head?
She should not have taken umbrage to every word and every utterance of the election commission, even if it's intemperate. And the gentleman is reputed for making intemperate statements. Should not have taken everything to heart. Number one, not personalize the whole thing. Number two, be more cooperative by getting all types of names possible, combinations of names and that's possible, and sent officers with bagloads of names to sit across in the election commission with counterpart officer and sort it out. Finish. That's the way things are done. Instead, each sending of a name became an act of public anger. That approach was not there.
Instead, she marched up to the court.
She did confrontation of a public nature on a public standing for a political purpose. 7 chief ministers have filed cases against SIR, but cases were being dealt by advocates. She went personally herself to the Supreme Court that was indulgent enough to allow her to come. The law is a little more complicated than that. You can't just walk in with a gown or whatever and say that I want to do it. In that case, Supreme Court has the option to say, okay, if you're making the claim, then your lawyers are out. That's what the book said. So she went in there, the Supreme Court allowed her to come and make a statement, and it was a political statement. Whatever she made was politics. That is one of the major issues in a complicated administrative exercise like SIR. There was too much politics in it. Politics from the state government's head, politics from the head of the election commission of an unheard nature. We are groomed to be taking a lot of flat without responding. We don't make statements like the way he did. Anyway, he acted highly politically, highly emotionally, highly questionably, if I may put it. She acted like a true politician, drawing advantage from every lobby, every ball that he lobbed. So, while politically she is correct, she managed to draw away attention from all the anti incumbency against her. That's all forgotten now.
So, isn't that a success?
Has that's a political success for her. The perverse action of it all fell on the administrative part of the exercise of the SIR, which means that SIR was botched up, which means that we are left with 35 lakh names that are not there on the electoral roll.
The court has also said that voting is a sentimental issue. In the context of West Bengal, it is also an issue of identity. How do you see this panning out?
It's become an emotional issue now. Mamata Banerjee has been able to utilize this confrontation to two advantages. Number one, the entire opposition against her, anti-incumbency against her, is pushed into the background. Number one. Number two, she becomes a savior of Bengal, who has been responsible for so many names being included. Had she not fought in the Supreme Court, had she not dared the Election Commission, this Election Commission we have deleted all names. Therefore, she is the savior. And then on top of that, she uses the subnational appeal of the Bengali people being treated roughly, treated unjustly as a plank. While she succeeded on all of them, the fact is she has been undercut where voting is concerned, where voter numbers are concerned. Number two, she has to now fight double with double energy to win her place back because, as I said, reduced margins are a threat. But she has used its subnational emotional appeal. The court used the word sentimental. I am using the word where Bengal is concerned. The biggest factor that plays in this state is emotion. So this emotional thing has now come in.
So, is it advantage, Mamata Banerjee?
Yes, yes, yes. Mathematics says that the margins are so low that the BJP may sweep because they've cut off so many names from the voting list. But it may not work that way because their prime base of 35% of Bengal has been made to suffer. So they may not be with them anymore. Of course, there are chances that mathematics may work and those numbers that have been deleted so hopelessly large that no candidate from the TMC or others ever get to cross it. And BJP get a lot of seats. It was both ways.
But from the point of view of the average voter, how much has this identity issue come up and is in the forefront and, in one sense, steering the election?
It's working again. This time, the civil society and many others had planned that we will not allow her to pay this subnational card saying Bengali Izzat and Bengali Asmita and all that. We'll not allow her because that's the card on which she wins. Right? This time, the election commissioner's behavior, which has been quite intemperate at times, has actually ruffled Bengali feathers. So she didn't have to earn it. Here, emotion matters a lot. And this emotion is that don't touch my identity, don't touch my culture, don't touch my language. So they are very clear about don't touch my Sanskriti, my culture, don't touch my language, and don't touch my identity. There is a painful realization that the election commission and others have got together to cut Bengal to size. And that's also working. That's also working. They feel that injustice has been done deliberately so that X and Y win. So our identity is going to get crushed. So that is the fact.
And so the consequence, let's stay together, let's unite, and let these people not invade our state and our identity.
Exactly. Exactly, that's the exact feeling. But as I said, it was generated more by the actions of the Election Commission than the postures and dramatics of Mamata Banerjee.
But it would work advantage Mamata Banerjee.
This will work advantage Mamata Banerjee.
Now, on the issue of outsiders and infiltrators or ghuspetiyas, as you prefer to call them.
I don't prefer. It's a term coined and popularized by the Home Minister of India. Nobody knows who these ghuspetiyas are. It's a plank on which they operate. Bengal is a suspect state for giving refuge to them. The open borders and the lack of what shall I say, bitterness that exists and certain amount of commonality in language and food and etc. has always seen that people come over to their chachas and mamas and others from this side to that. It's a situation like this exists. In Bengal, the southern districts of West Bengal and southern districts are 24 Parganas and Nadia. We have at least 2 crore people who have come from East Bengal called Namasudras, and they follow a doctrine called Matua. Almost 2 crore Matuas, 1.5 to 2 crore Matuas who are spread across something like 40-50 constituencies. They give 2 Lok Sabha seats to the BJP because the BJP promised them that they would give them citizenship after the Citizenship Amendment Act made it easier to give it to Hindus, and they are all Hindus. They tend to call themselves refugees, but the fact is that they don't have any papers. The fact is they are not citizens, and therefore they fall in the first category of infiltrators or ghuspetiyas that the Home Minister keeps saying. It's the Home Minister who goes to them, knowing fully well that they're ghuspetiyas because they're Hindu ghuspetiyas. Move a little north from Nadia, you get to more districts. District of Murshidabad and district of Malda. Here they are Bengalis, but they are Bengali Muslims. So they also have relations across the border. Where the Muslims are concerned, if they are infiltrated without papers, they are ghuspetiya, they are dimmers, they should be thrown out. And dramatically, the BJP leader of West Bengal says, I'll put a catapult and throw them across the border. The attitudes are different. One is the refugee and the other is the infiltrator. That's the way. The Hindu voters have been voting for the BJP, hoping that they get the citizenship. And the Muslim voters have been voting continuously for the TMC, hoping that their lives are safer. SIR operated blindly, and therefore a lot of Hindu refugees or infiltrators, the Matuas as we call them in South Bengal, have been left out. Now these Matuas, as I said, batter for 35 to 45 seats. If they see that their people are being cut off, which has happened in reality thanks to the SIR exercise, they may switch their votes. They say, why do I waste my vote to the BJP? So, it has created such a scramble that you can't really say that this is the amount that may go to BJP, this is the amount that may go to TMC.
How much truth is there in what Mr. Amit Shah sees as ghuspetiyas and what Mamata Banerjee says these are our own people?
That is a highly controversial issue, but here I would tend to be leaning towards Mamata Banerjee. I'll tell you the reason why. From September to December last year, there was an all-out search for Bangladeshis, and you know the stories how people were herded, jhuggi jhopris were, razed to the ground, and they were taken to camps, etc. And it's very difficult to make out who is a Bengali Musalman of this side and who is a Bengali Musalman of that side.
Which does not in any way justify that you allow them to continue staying here just because
No. Nobody wants to stay. In my 7 things I've said this. I said identification is an art. There are various ways you can do it. You can't do it with a steamroller. That's the point. So, steamroller was used by the Home Ministry last September to December, and thousands of Bengali laborers were rounded up and taken to police stations, etc. How many Ghuspetiyas were identified? Almost zero. They could identify something like 300 or something out of this lakhs, and 300 were pushed back into Bangladesh. So the issue is being exaggerated to a large extent because it is the political plank of a party. Unless Mr. Amit Shah or the Home Minister identifies the extent of the problem and comes out publicly, one would go on saying that it is a bahana, it is a ruse. This is a lot of political hogwash. But what I will still insist, for the sake of the Union of India, we must go in for a surgical and a quiet way of identifying those who do not belong to this country. Unfortunately, this exercise is not being allowed to be taken by the BJP. I'll tell you the reason. Because had they taken their exercise, they'd have to throw out all the Hindu Batwa. They want them to stay and vote for them.
By the same measure, Mamata Banerjee would like the Muslims to stay because she wants the vote from them.
Absolutely.
So, as of now, both the BJP vis-a-vis the Hindus, Mamata Banerjee vis-a-vis the Muslims, they are on the same page.
Same page, but thanks to this exercise, the Hindu infiltrators are now also with Mamata Banerjee.
I take that point, but what I'm saying is that in this whole ghuspetiya game or allegations and ghuspetiya versus these are my people, both of them are staying or playing the same game for electoral advantage. So to blame the BJP and say they are exaggerating while Mamata is not seems a little unfair.
No, it's not like that. We have to quantify. I've given you the exercise that was initiated with the Home Ministry from September to December. Let them come out clearly and said we have identified 50 lakh ghuspetiya. They haven't. This is a highly overblown issue. You need a punching bag, and the punching bag is an illegal Mussalman. And since the Pakistani Mussalmans do not come over, it's the east side, Bangladeshi Mussalman, who are now made into a huge, huge issue to scare and to justify Islamophobia.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. But before I let you go, a few real time political questions. In this election, where do you see the TMC? Will Mamata Banerjee stage a comeback or is a fourth term a pipe dream?
Most people think she'll still come back. She has made it such a binary struggle with her tactics of confrontation that the other forces who don't want either of the two parties, they just pushed into the background. She has mastered the art of binary. However bad we may feel, fact is most people feel she'll still stage a comeback even if the deletions of names have happened.
You know, your resignation was a consequence of the RG car rape case. While on that, what do you make of the victim's mother contesting on a BJP ticket?
It's her choice. The party that has come the worst in this whole thing is the BJP because it's a CBI that is inquiring and not convicting the other fault maker. So there's an anti-CBI thing going on in Bengal, and this lady has been shouting hoarse saying that the CBI is not giving justice to my dead girl. He goes over to the BJP. People are surprised.
Okay. At one point of time, you had spoken about, and I quote, old style of Mamata Banerjee. You know, explain that and what and how much has she changed and perhaps compromised.
The old style of Mamata Banerjee was to jump into the situation. If there's a flood, she would be the first one to go. She would take the nearest transport, get into the water, half waist deep water, and be at the spot. That's Mamata Banerjee. But when Sandesh Khali scandal broke out, she sent emissaries. She never went herself. This struck us. This is not the Mamata, old style Mamata we knew, who goes head on into the problem. But then during this SIR problem, she has revived that old Mamata once again.
On another point, can she and should she head the opposition or the India alliance? You know, I ask this because there are suggestions that she could lead the alliance.
It is her dream come true. The problem is Indian politics is determined in such a manner that largest number of votes are in the Hindi belt. So a non-Hindi belt person making it to the top is a rarity. Mamata Banerjee knows her limitation is a maximum of 42 seats in West Bengal, out of which she may get a little more than half, maybe 30. And 30 seat is her bargaining power. A Congress with a little bit of effort can get 130. So why would the Congress concede their leadership to someone whose numbers are less? So she's waiting for a time when the balance is such that she can play a Chandrasekhar. She can play Charan Singh. If that happens, her ambition to become the top will come true.
Is she Prime Minister material?
Well, we have seen prime ministers. We have seen prime ministers who qualified even less than her. So I would say that if they can become prime minister, so can she.
My last question and my parting shot. Do you still remain a Modi critic, or have you changed your opinion like you have rather adversely about Mamata Banerjee?
I will die rather than change my opinion against communalism. I would die rather than change my opinion about autocracy. I have no problem with the Hindu identity, nothing. But it's that communal attitude to kill that hurts.
On that note, Mr. Jawhar Sircar, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. And thank you for taking us through the complex issues of SIR, the state of West Bengal, the question of identity, and Mamata Banerjee and how she has changed.
Thank you. Thank you.